Hello guys, Miha F1 here today. As I announced in the video before, today I will discuss my 2023 season predictions. We'll predict driver and constructor standings. Also biggest surprises of the season, team and driver, and of course biggest disappointments too. And to make it more fun, I'll throw in 3 wildcard predictions. Let's start with the driver standings first. We'll start from the back. At number 20th, I have Logan Sargent. I don't think he'll be bad or crash all the time, but he's a rookie in a worse team and we can't expect too much of him, although he is showing much potential already. Next, number 19. I put his teammate Alex Albon. He'll score a few more points, but because of Williams' package he'll be limited. I expect of him at least 2 or 3 Q3s this year. Number 18, I got Yuki Tsunoda. I'm sorry to all of his fans, but Yuki haven't really showed us that much last year and this year during the testing. He'll score points here and there, but not consistently. Like with the Williams, number 17 occupies his teammate Nick De Vries. I believe he'll outperform Yuki in his first full year in sport. I don't think it will be that wash, but still he'll perform better. And let's not forget about that he's F2 and Formula E world champion. I really wasn't sure about number 16, but I decided to put Nico Hulkenberg here. Like Daniel Ricciardo would say, Nico Hulkenberg! This will be his first full season since 2019, and in that time he was reserve driver, but these are different regulations, so he might struggle at first. Eventually he'll get up to speed and show us his true pace. No podiums though. Next one, at number 15, I had Guan Yu Zhou. Only reason why he is this low on the list is because midfield looks to be so close this year, and we haven't seen much of his racecraft last year. But I believe he'll have some really nice points, high points during the season. Number 14 and the third rookie of the year, we have Oscar Piastri. McLaren will most definitely cost him a few points because of its mechanical failures and the fact that they're being so damn slow this year. But we can't forget that he is F2 and F3 champion years consecutively, but if the car is awful, it will do him no good. 13, unlucky number, is Pierre Gasly. This will be a crucial season for him. It's a new team, and his teammate is a really good driver, maybe even better than himself. Also, Esteban has been with the team for a few seasons now. We'll see if their rivalry gets hot, and they start taking points from one another by the chance of racing incidents. 12th, here comes Lance Stroll. I believe he'll unleash his potential as he gets a good car for the first time since 2020. And that year he really impressed me, so I'll be optimistic about it. But one thing I still believe he's struggled with consistency, and the fact that he had wrist injuries, maybe a fracture actually. At number 11, I have Kevin Magnussen. Like he did the last year, the first part of the season will be his time to shine. He needs to establish himself as a team leader. It will be hard against Nico, but I believe he can do it. Haas will probably drop off towards the end of the season, so he needs to do it quickly. Top 10 time. And at number 10 I have placed Esteban Ocon. Alpine looks worst off compared to the rest of the midfield, and that will cost Esteban a lot. Also, he'll be under more pressure because of Pierre. This will either push him harder and he'll perform better, or it will break him and he'll do many mistakes. Hopefully the first one. Number 9 is Lando Norris. I know he's in a bad McLaren, but he's always outperformed the car and the teams with better car. That's why he's so high on this list. There won't be surprise podium this year for him. It will be a very quiet and somewhat disappointing year. The place is occupied by Valtteri Bottas. This year will be even better for him. Alpha looks to be in the top of the midfield. When the car underneath him is good, he can really show us some magnificent results. He'll have some amazing qualifying results too, I reckon. This is a bit low for number 7 guy, George Russell. He is Mr. Consistent, but this year Mercedes will squash that title with its reliability. The car looks to be a bit better, but there are too many car issues, and that's what will cost George. He might get a win or two, but that will be very hard to achieve, let's be honest. This also seems to be optimistic in some people's opinion, but also harsh in others. But at number 6, I have Fernando Alonso. When we take a look where Aston Martin finished last year, this would be a really unexpected result. But compared to testing, it's another story. He is Fernando Alonso, after all. He extracts everything from the car, even if it's bad. Only thing that can stop him is the reliability. I have my fingers crossed that won't be the case. I'm really rooting for him this year. He's one of my favorite drivers on the grid, and also Aston Martin is my top 3 team. At number 5 sits his former teammate and one of the toughest rivals, Lewis Hamilton. This will be a much better season for Lewis. There won't be any Q3 eliminations like last year in Jeddah. He'll beat George and show us why he is a 7 times world champion. At number 4, and this may be surprising after the testing, but I have placed Checo Perez. I believe he'll perform excellent, but the thing that worries me the most is the team dynamic. There will be the time during the season where Max will be behind him, and I don't want to predict what will happen, or vice versa. Before I tell you my top 3, I ask of you to subscribe and comment your opinions below. With that said, let's get back on track. Third comes Carlos Sainz. I read somewhere that this year's Ferrari suits more to Carlos than it did last year, which should give him more courage to push the car further and score more podiums and wins. He should get closer to Leclerc, but still I don't see him beating him like he did during the 2021 season. Now for the silver medal. Second, this was tough, but I have put Charles Leclerc here. I wanted him to win it so badly, but after the testing there isn't much hope for it. Red Bull still looks like the favorites, and that of course means that Max Verstappen will win the championship, the 3rd time in a row. But hopefully it will be more of a fight than the last year. It gets boring when he dominates, like any other driver during his prime. There aren't many hot takes on my list, but I try to stay realistic. Even though my heart is telling me to put Leclerc first, I couldn't make myself do it. And now let's get to the constructors. I'll start from the back again. At number 10, no surprise, there is Williams. I believe they improved a lot this year, but so did other teams. Maybe not as much, but Williams were so further back that they can't surpass anyone this year. Maybe next year's, finger crossed. Although their testing was quite good, like the Will Buxton said. It was really good for quite a while, we haven't seen them perform this good, but it's a really low benchmark. Next, at number 9 comes AlphaTauri. Like the year before, they will come second to last. The car didn't improve that much, but the driver lineup got worse. All in all, this will not be their year. Next one, also disappointing one, it's McLaren. They got rid of Daniel Ricciardo, but I think they'll soon realize he was not the main problem. It was the car itself. Hopefully I'm wrong, but we shall see. 7th comes Alpine. They lost Alonso, which will be a bummer for them, and the team dynamic between Ocon and Gasly could be a feisty one because of their past. And also the car looks to be slower than last year's for some reason. Next, I have placed the Alfa Romeo. Their car looks incredibly good this year. It's obviously got lighter because of all the paint reduction, and the engine should be more reliable. The lineup stayed the same, which is crucial. And at number 5, I have placed Haas. They changed their lineup again. We'll see if Nico helps them or if he needs to catch up first, and then that will hurt their chances for a good opening to the season, before eventually they get surpassed by the teams behind them. Number 5th and number 6th are really interchangeable on my list, but I decided to put Haas optimistically before Alpha. This might also be like the most out there prediction, but I think Mercedes will finish 4th. They look to have more work now than they did at the end of the last season. Also, the zero side pod philosophy they kept seems to do them no good. The best part are the drivers, of course, and I believe they will extract everything from the car. Top 3 time. Tell me your predictions in the comments below. Third, surprisingly, I have put Aston Martin. They improved the most during the winter. Fernando is so rapid in that beautiful green car, and Lance will learn from him and hopefully improve this season. And hopefully I just realized I might have jinxed them now. Fingers crossed I haven't. Let's move on to the number 2. Sadly, it's Ferrari again. I don't see them winning it this year. They seem further back of pace. Leclerc particularly isn't happy with the car's potential now, but we all know it's early in the season and it's not time to judge it yet. Fingers crossed he's wrong. And that leaves us to the champions. Actually, the reigning champions, Red Bull. They improved the car a bit and separated themselves from the rest of the grid. I'm really hoping this will not come to be, but for now it's the most likely option. These again might not have been as boring as the driver standings, but let's get to the most fun part of the video, the biggest surprises of the season, and we'll start with the driver. For the driver I was gonna put Fernando Alonso, but then I think we all expect great results from him, so I chose Guan Yu Zhou. His first season showed us some amazing performances, like getting closer and even out-qualifying Valtteri. But the point at the end of the season didn't show it. So this year I believe he will be more consistent, as he improved throughout the season. This year he's more experienced and he'll put it to good use. Also the car seems better, so I believe he will surprise the haters this year. Next we go to the biggest surprise of the team. Aston Martin, of course. Last year their season started awful, but through the season they developed the car, and at the end they finished 7th, but if the season had a few races more, they would definitely have finished 6th. So if we assume they kept developing it during the off-season, and we saw what they can do during the testing, I can comfortably say that this will be a good season for them. And now we go to the opposite side of the chart. The biggest disappointments, and we'll start with the drivers. It was a really tough choice, but I'll put Yuki Tsunoda as my most disappointing driver of the season. This is Yuki's 3rd season in the sport, and the team is not looking much better than the last year. And last year Yuki struggled. Gasly did too, but Yuki wasn't closer to him than he was even in 2021. And this year his opponent changes. Now he is the team leader. But Nick De Vries is not quite a rookie. He is a Formula 2 and Formula E champion. So I believe Yuki will be under more pressure and he won't be able to perform to his best. He could even be defeated by him at the end of the season, in my predictions. And for the most disappointing team, I believe without a surprise, I have put the McLaren, of course. This wasn't so tough of a choice. McLaren was the team that struggled the most during the Bahrain test. They had brake problems like the years before. Their trajectory is going down each season, and this year they lost Andreas Seidl as their team principal, which will cost them a lot. They replaced Daniel Ricciardo with another Aussie, Oscar Piastri, and we'll see if that pays off or it's more of the same, as the car seems bad. Because all of that, this will be a disappointing season for McLaren fans. After this fun and also very depressing part, we'll come to the most exciting part, and that will be the 3 crazy predictions for this season. At number 1, Fernando Alonso to win a race. Actually, let's bump that up. Fernando to win 2 races. Haas podium. Of course not for Kevin Magnussen, but for Nico Hülkenberg, who still doesn't have one. And the third one, and this is the most optimistic one for me, less than 5 retirements for Ferrari due to reliability problems. And I don't mean 5 for Leclerc and 5 for Sainz. I mean 5 for both of them. I'm really hoping this to be true. And that's it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. There are some controversial predictions, but I don't care. It's my opinion, and if you disagree, tell me in the comments below. But keep it respectful. See you in the comments. Bye bye.